Nana, I'm
Yes.
sorry I had to keep you for too long on this. Auntie. Has
You
Alan
are in the
Chamantin-
driver's seat.
No, I'm not the mate. Alan Chamantin, has he stated his position on this
Of course, he has.
anti-LGBTQ plus bill?
Completely against LGBTQ plus.
I
And
see.
he made the statement from two major perspectives. First, our norms, customs, and tradition as Ghanaians, and secondly, as a Christian. He did make the point very clearly. So his position is that we cannot entertain anti-LGBTQ as a right. As a right. I mean,
Right.
people have been doing these things and nobody has stopped them. If people want to do these things in private, well, that one you can't go into their bedroom and do anything. But now that those who are engaged in it wants it to be established more as a right, that is where the issue lies. But having said that, I think the issues that the lawyers have laid out this morning are very, very, very interesting. I mean, clearly, you would see that the Supreme Court, in all fairness, hasn't gone against any law from the expressions that our two lawyers here have indicated. They haven't gone against any law by the position they've taken. But my first real comment will be based on the point that Honorable Dafeme Pope made about the political nature of some of these issues and the fact that the Supreme Court indeed is a political creation. So the Supreme Court is not just, as he put it, a juristic organization. It is not just for constitutional and legal matters. It is part of our political setup. And seriously speaking, if you look at the structure of the state, you have the executive, you have the legislature, you have the judiciary in that political order. So really, the Supreme Court is part of the political system and also has political content beyond the law and constitutionalism. But, I mean, to take it from the layman's point of view, I'm asking myself, if Parliament has passed a bill and it is up to the President to sign or not to sign, why doesn't he exercise his authority and right also as President? Why go through or encourage or support using the courts? There is nothing wrong about it. It is legal. Those who decided to put an injunction on the service of the bill on the President could be in their right as citizens. But I'm also asking myself, if those who took that step allow Parliament to present the bill to the President, hasn't the President got the right or the authority to say, I would sign or I won't sign? I don't know what the implication of what Honorable Dafeme Pope said about once Parliament certifies a certain kind of bill, the Speaker certifies, then the President has no option but to sign. I don't know whether that really is the law.
It's the law.
If that is the law, it means that then probably that is the reason why the President, if he's not interested in signing the law, or those who took the application for the injunction, yes, then they will go to court because they know as soon as it is presented to the President, then legally he has no other option but to sign. But you see, the President also has to understand that we also, some of us say it all the time, you are not just dealing with the law. You are not dealing with only your personal positions. You are not dealing with only your preferences. You are dealing with the generality of the people you are ruling. What is the broad sentiment? If we talk about majoritarian democracy, I am sure that if anybody did a scientific survey as to what percentage of Ghanaians will be interested in supporting this anti-LGBTQ law, as against those who would want it to be left or even reified this behavior as a right. I am almost certain, even though I haven't done any scientific survey, or I don't think we have done it, I'm almost certain that a very huge majority of Ghanaians will say we are not happy legalizing or reifying, uplifting this behavior as a right, as a human right, as has been done in other societies. So I think the president should be sensitive to the sentiment of majority of the people of Ghana. But it is still his right, either to sign or not to sign. I think it is still his right. Now, if the fear is that once this parliament lapses, then it could never become law, I don't think that really is the case. There's going to be another parliament after the election, and I'm sure that whoever may have tabled this motion that went through parliament has become a bill could go back through the process again.
We did.
Yeah, it's only that, well, it takes us some time, but Lawyer Kwebu has reminded all of us, sometimes the processes of the law and the judicial system is, he put it this way, painfully slow.
Yeah, because the disclosure one, the thing paid me 2 years. Because some things are very simple. Go and come. 4 months, go and come.
Yeah, it's become painfully slow. But of course, as we all know, democracy and the processes of democracy, and particularly with reference to the law and judicial processes, it can be really, really slow.
If forgotten Dom Leveau said when Dom Leveau was kicked out of office, Kweku Asare making noise, then lots of us lawyers were quiet. People didn't want to talk because we were scared, hey, the judges will not be happy, you see. But now we are growing. Sorry.
Yeah. So it is turning out to be one of those painfully slow processes for majority of Ghanaians. Because as far as people of faith, like myself, are concerned, in the Christian faith, in the Islamic faith, even in traditional beliefs of our society, every sector of our society basically frowns on men marrying men, women marrying women.
In fact, it's an abomination before our traditional courts.
Before God, in Christianity and in so many other faiths. So, you see, I don't think that our courts, our Supreme Court and the judicial system is operating in a vacuum. They are operating within the milieu of our culture. And sometimes, I think that these processes should also pay some attention to the reality of our culture and our norms and our traditions and so on. But as I said, once the Supreme Court has quoted the law, and as far as the law is concerned, they haven't done anything wrong, it becomes really problematic. So I can only appeal to the values and the norms that we have overwhelmingly against LGBTQ. I don't know how anybody can convince me. It doesn't matter what the Americans think. It doesn't matter what Canadians think. It doesn't matter what European society thinks. So don't we, as a society, have a right to also promote our own sacred values? Why should our values be tied to some other society's values? And in fact, for us to be blackmailed, more or less, where the vice president of the US visits Ghana with her husband, and then she comes basically threatening the ambassador to the US, the ambassador of the US to Ghana, basically threatening.
Husband who is a male.
Well, I mean, let's...
Basically,
let's
wait. Let me make my point. No, basically threatening that, look, if Ghanaians go on this path and they go and sign this bill and make it impossible for LGBTQ plus persons to also live their lives publicly and so on and so forth, it is going to cost you economically and financially. I thought that was not in such great taste. You know, I mean, you could see the nervousness of government to this matter. And Matthew Kwebu, Lawyer Kwebu, referred to the rather infantile letter that the Minister of Finance issued on this matter, that if we don't take care, we're going to go hungry. Where everybody is going to sleep without eating because we have not allowed anti-LGBTQ to be lifted to a certain level. I thought that was not good enough. And in fact, for me, it was even a matter of shame. It was a matter of shame because really, even though from time to time we run ourselves into economic and financial difficulties and we will need support from the IMF and the World Bank and other sources, if we are going to make our existence, we're going to plan our existence, our lives, based on handouts and loans from external sources, obviously, we should tell ourselves that our development plans cannot be sustained. And this LGBTQ situation, for me, is a major test of our readiness to take our destiny as a society into our own hands. 67 years after independence, when Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah declared that the black man is capable of managing his own affairs, and Ghana, our beloved country, is free forever, it is obvious that a threat on we going for our values and supporting what we believe to be the sanctity of the relationship between a man and a woman, which is for procreation, which is for the creation of a family, which is for the building of society. We go for that. And someone can threaten us because we don't have a sustainable way of living our lives. Then we are in serious trouble. Then we have to think and think again about the kind of life we have been leading, about the kind of governance we have been running, about the kind of economic policies we have been pursuing, about the kind of nation we want to build. Because this matter, as far as I'm concerned, is not just a simple matter. It is a very big issue which is giving us the opportunity to confront some of the real difficulties, fundamental, structural difficulties of our society going forward. Because when I look at what is going on in other societies, the people who are LGBTQ, they want to adopt children so that you have two fathers or two mothers. But that's their problem. That's their problem. But I am talking about majority of us as Ghanaians, as Africans, having made our voices so loudly heard by the West, by Europe, by Canada, and the United States. I don't know why anybody in those circles should threaten us to the point that we ourselves have become intimidated, more or less, especially at the governmental level. In fact, my information is that at some point, even before this bill is pushed through, in an effort to try and please foreign donors, the Ministry of Education attempted to introduce LGBTQ
to a curriculum,
to educational curriculum, to little children. I mean, that for me is a very, very dangerous matter. So the parents don't have a right to bring up their children. Children get to the age of accountability and then decide. Let's even say they even want to become LGBTQ. Why don't you leave them alone for them to grow up to the age of accountability, to know the difference between the various options in society, in life, what is good and evil or bad, so that they can make their choices. Now the government, the state, wants to entrench and enforce and push down values that majority of us in Ghana consider to be negative because we are not able to feed ourselves. So whoever is giving us the handout is saying, put this in your curriculum. And the really disturbing part for me was where they wanted to introduce it at the very early stages of childhood development. That, for me, was a big issue. So we are where we are today. The Supreme Court may have taken a technical, legal position. The president may have gone and taken cover under the technicality of the law. But it also speaks about the president himself and his own personal position. Because, you see, before this matter got to this, he had been asked this matter, this issue. And the response he gave was that, oh, it's only a matter of time, and as other societies have legalized it, it's only a matter of time. As for me, that was the point at which the president had given a clear indication that he was not interested in anything that will restrict or seek to ban, at least at the public level, legal level, the activities of LGBTQ. So the president has shown that he personally will be against the anti-LGBTQ law by not so many words. He has already given that indication. So if people either accuse him or cite him for either actively or indirectly supporting this move to halt or to slow down the process, I would go for that. Because the president hasn't done anything to show us that he also is on the side of majority of the people who quote our customs, our norms, our tradition, our faith. And from all intents and to all intents and purposes, the president himself is a Christian. There is no Christian who is a true Christian who would ever support anti-LGBTQ.
I mean, you mean LGBTQ?
No Christian who believes in the Bible as the scripture, as the word of, no Christian. If there are pastors, if there are churches that are saying, it is their right, this and that, it is anti-Christian. The thing is that if you are a true Christian, all of us are sinners, and sin takes several different forms. What God expects is that we will recognize our sin, accept that we are sinners, go to Jesus Christ, ask for forgiveness, and turn a new leaf. Turning a new leaf in Christianity does not include the right, so-called, of being LGBTQ. It is alien. It is called an abomination to Christianity. Other religions I know also talk about the same thing. So if anybody is truly Christian and they tend to be liberal about this matter, I think it is problematic.
Well, there are a number of messages. Let me just clear this up. This one here from Dr. Kwame Asante says, global best practices need not be Caucasian origined. The vehemence of the West in getting us to allow this is the very reason why we must not succumb. It means that for once, we are on to something good. Can't we subject this to a national referendum? What will it take? Can you kindly find out from Lawyer Martin Pebu on this matter? He's asking if this cannot be subjected to a national referendum, and what will it take? And that's a question that he wants a response to.
Yeah, so that's whether we should allow the LGBTQ rights
to be put to a referendum.
Yes, we can. But the thing you face with this is government will quickly be slow because they are wondering that.
They're not interested.
Yes, because it won't directly bring votes. Remember the election of the MMDCs, something that we needed to be able to make MMDCs accountable at the district and municipal levels. Yeah, the president torpedoed it, and the rest of us citizens sat down. So, Dr. Asante, if you champion...
No, that's Dr. Kwame.
Kwame Asante.
Yes.
Okay.
Asante is different.
Dr. Kwame Asante, if you champion it and also help raise funds, yes, but otherwise they tell you that as a developing country it's not a priority. Because look at the constitutional review process. You see the president just shoved everything. 8 years. We've lost.